Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the officers of the Senate, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, esteemed members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me also acknowledge my family, my wife and children. I want to start, Your Excellency, Mr. President, distinguished senators, by giving thanks to God for this rare opportunity that you have given me to appear for what we call the Parliament, Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Growing up, we were told that the Parliament is so powerful that it can turn a man to a woman, and in the reverse, a woman to a man. So I am not oblivious of the constitutional powers and authority of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I want to thank the President of the Federal Republic, as well as the Council of State, for nominating me for this very, very important task of service to Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, distinguished senators, my name is Joash Amupiton. I am a professor of law with specialization in law of evidence and corporate governance. I therefore stand before you today honored to be considered for the position of the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission. I want to start with my early life. I was born on the 25th day of April 1967 in a town that is known and called Ayetorogbede in the Jumu local government area of Kogi State. So, late Chief Joseph Benson Amupiton and late Mrs. Alice Amupiton. My formative years were nurtured in the environment, a nurturing environment of my early primary school at Baptist Primary School in Ayetorogbede between 1971 and 1976. Just to say, Your Excellency, distinguished senators, that my parents were teachers. My mother grew up to be the headmistress, the famous headmistress in our place, and my father metamorphosized to become president of Upper Area Court. So, following my primary education, to also mention that as at that time, you were allowed to write common entrance. I wrote my common entrance and was admitted for my secondary education because I passed at St. Barnabas Secondary School in Kogi State. Now, higher education. My pursuit of legal knowledge took me to the Kwara State College of Technology, which is now known as Kwara State Polytechnic, for my HSC, that is School of Basic Studies. At that time, you go for your HSC and you obtain an A-level qualifications. IGMB A-levels and GCE A-levels. That was between 1982 to 1984, upon my graduation from the secondary school. I proceeded to the University of Jos, where I obtained the LLB Honors degree in 1987, consequent upon which I emerged as the best graduating student at that time. And I am happy to report, Your Excellency, distinguished senators, that I won all the awards available at that time. Before I proceeded to the Nigerian Law School in Lagos in 1987-88, where I was called to the Nigerian bar on the 3rd day of November 1988. After obtaining my LLB, my BL degree, I went on national assignment, which was consequent upon the laws of the National Assembly. Upon graduation, you proceed on national service for the purpose of integration. I was posted to Bauchi State, where I served in Bauchi State Publishing and Printing Corporation, publishers of the Trumpeter. I served as judicial to police correspondent at that time. Before I could conclude my NYC, Excellencies, distinguished senators, I was offered automatic appointment as a lecturer in the Faculty of Law, University of Jos. Principally because I was the best graduating student, and again, I had a professor who was actually a great mentor that ensured, even before the NYC, I was recommended to be appointed. And I could remember vividly in his recommendation, he noted, Vice Chancellor, if you don't capture him now, when he's very young, by the time he goes into practice, we're going to lose him. So, consequent upon that, an appointment was waiting for me, even before I concluded my NYC. Over the years, I progressed with my academic career. I also enrolled for the Masters of Law in the same university, and also PhD, completing the programs in 1993 and 2008 respectively. The question may be, why Jos? With utmost respect, Your Excellency, Jos is considered as a university that offers a temperate weather, even in Nigeria. So we had that temperate experience, that instead of going out to study, just remain in Jos and feel you are in the UK. So I grew up, I enrolled as an assistant lecturer, but to the glory of God, because in my ascendancy, 3 things have always influenced my life. Number 1, God. Number 2, hard work. And number 3, mentorship. So I became a professor in the year 2008. And I'm happy to report, Your Excellency, distinguished senators, that I was the first professor of law from Kogi State. Not just the first professor of law from Kogi State, I was also the first professor SAN in Kogi State, despite the harvest of senior advocates of Nigeria in Kogi State. I may also wish to bring to your attention that in the year 2003, the United States government also considered me and appointed me as a visiting scholar, or they call it visiting professor, to the University of Iowa in the United States, where I spent 9 months researching on cutting-edge issues related to comparative law between America and Nigeria. I served in the University of Jos, became a head of Department of Public Law, and also became the Dean of the Faculty of Law And I happen to be one of the longest serving deans because I served for 6 years, while ordinarily you are supposed to serve for 4. But because of the compelling need, I was prevailed upon to take the university and the faculty to another level. Because during my tenure as the Dean of the Faculty of Law, for the first time, the Faculty of Law became the third best, University of Jos, became the third best university or faculty in Nigeria, based on NIAL's ranking as at that time. In addition to that, I was able to also work on proposals that led to a grant of $150,000 from the Carnegie Corporation of the US. And that was one of the major breakthroughs we had with Carnegie Corporation, leading to the establishment of an ICT, online legal research for lawyers, in the Faculty of Law, University of Jos. And that was the very first, not only in Nigeria, but in the whole of West Africa. Your Excellency, distinguished senators, I was appointed as a senior advocate of Nigeria in the year 2014, and also appointed as Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration in October 2022. The position I held up to this moment, if Your Excellency